But first, it's not long to go now, just days. In just a few days, the polls will officially close, the counting will officially begin, and unless I'm very wrong, it could actually be days, if not weeks, until we know who's actually going to swear the oath of office in January. First, the polls. As far as I can tell, they're deadlocked just about everywhere you go. Some aggregates show that Donald Trump has got a small lead, but this is all within the margin of error. And others suggest that Kamala Harris has wound in her sails and things are now tilting back her way. Again, though, this is all within the margin of error. And for every statistic I can show you, such as the fact that I don't think any incumbent party has ever won re-election with so many voters thinking the country is heading in the wrong direction as they do now in the United States, there will be another countervailing fact, such as no party has ever outpolled the pollsters 3 times in a row. And if Trump romps it in other words, pretty much everybody in the polling business will have to hang their heads in shame. That said, let me give some hope for Trump fans. If you recall back in 2020 how the Democrats eventually caned the GOP with early absentee and mail-in votes, leading to the presidency, or perhaps I should say the regency of Joe Biden, well, that's really swung the other way now. And in fact, let me give you a few examples. For example, because your party identification is known in America when you request a ballot, we can get some numbers here that are pretty interesting. In Nevada, which Republicans are hoping to pick up, the numbers look like this. As of now, GOP, 306,905 voters. Democrats, 264,109, and others, 203,012 voters. Those are independents. We don't know which way they will go. Likewise, in the Sun Belt state of Arizona, the numbers again favoring Trump. Republicans, 683,281 ballots. Democrats, 554,492. And again, those others, unidentified independents, 392,617. Again, an advantage for the Republicans. Now, Pennsylvania, and this is where all the money is. This is must-win stuff. The 2024 Republican versus Democrat vote is now over 500,000 bigger than it was at the same time in 2020 when Joe Biden's victory margin in that state was only 80,000. So, there you go. Now, there's a whole nother factor at play here, the press. And hoo boy, do they, or at least a lot of them, have their thumbs on the scale and their eyes, well, anywhere but on the road. Look, I have been watching Trump in politics for 9 years and in public life for a lot longer than that. And I am amazed that all these supposedly very smart people running the New York Times and CNN and MSNBC just don't seem to understand what he's all about. Fresh on the heels of his shift at McDonald's, which was frankly a genius move that scored him millions of dollars in free publicity while driving Kamala Harris off the front pages in the last day of the election, Donald Trump this week donned a high-vis vest and hopped in a garbage truck with his name emblazoned on the side. It was a pitch-perfect response to the bitter Joe Biden and his charge that Trump supporters were garbage. A statement that I think was calculated to roll a hand grenade into the Kamala campaign just days before the polls. And once again, showing that despite all the claims that Donald Trump is a fascist who knows nothing but hate, it is Harris's Democrats who are the real haters. Now remember, for weeks they've called Trump, his rallies, and his followers fascists. And now they're running from Joe Biden saying they're garbage? Come on. This does not pass the smell test, if I may. But instead, most of the media has run with it. Here's MSNBC, seeming to take the White House's word for this so-called gaffe, that Joe Biden somehow spoke a possessive apostrophe stuck in there, and so it was only one supporter of Donald Trump who was garbage.
Now, some on the right have seized that comment to mean his supporters, meaning Donald Trump's supporters, meaning all Trump supporters, half the country, saying the president is calling them garbage. The White House is saying, no, there's an apostrophe there. He's talking about his supporter, meaning the comedian. His comments are unconscionable and un-American. That's the controversy last night.
For CBS's Norah O'Donnell, the sin wasn't calling Trump fans garbage. It was that they didn't show grace to the president's so-called gaffe.
He landed in Green Bay just a short time ago and then pulled this campaign stunt, speaking to reporters from a garbage truck, proof that he and his supporters are giving no grace to a gaffe by President Biden, where he, in his explanation, inadvertently called Trump supporters garbage.
So kudos to this one reporter for doing her job.
You are promising to bring people together, even people you disagree with. You say, well, have a seat at the table. How do you convince Trump supporters of that, though, when you're calling their candidate a would-be dictator, a petty tyrant?
I am talking to everyone as an American.
All of this, of course, has meant that Kamala Harris has been unable to pivot to where she wants to be, which is to claim to be the unity candidate, which is very hard for her to do after obsessing over Donald Trump and having her surrogates suggest that his rally at Madison Square Garden was like something out of the 1930s. But there's a key element to this that they simply don't get. While they're being off having tantrums about Donald Trump and his rallies, Donald Trump is having fun. Look at this here, where he talks at one of his rallies about getting into that garbage truck this week.
And I said, man, this is bad, because now I have all the cameras are all what? Look at all the fake news. They were most of them. No, most of them, many of them were there. And I'm saying, oh, boy. You know, one little mistake with these guys and your political career's over. You can't even... So I said, man, if I don't get up there, this is going to be very embarrassing. These stupid people, they'll say, he's cognitively and physically impaired. And I can't do that when I'm alongside of this great athlete. I got to get up to that. So look, the first stair is like up here. I'm saying, So I had the adrenaline going, and I made it.
Look at that guy. He's having an absolute blast. Meanwhile, Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, all of them, they like to call themselves the happy warriors, but I reckon Trump has it all over them. And that is what the Democrats will never understand, and that's what absolutely kills them.